Hello people, it is me. I know I haven't been recording in a while. It's because school and stuff, but I'm gonna be doing a Plants vs. Zombies 1 tier list. Now I'm doing one because I played Plants vs. Zombies 1 on the channel before, if you're a longtime fan. And I love this game, so let's just get on with it. I'm actually just gonna delete this. Alright, Blover. Solid. B tier, I guess. I'm actually just gonna get rid of that also. Alright, it's solid. It's solid B tier. Okay, I'm sorry. It's solid B tier because it's C tier. It's C tier because it gets rid of balloon zombies. It does a way better job than Cactus, and it gets rid of the fog, and it does a better job than Planter. Only downside is that's basically all it's used for. Never used it in any levels that don't have balloon zombies or the fog. Moving on, Cabbage Ball, D tier. It's basically a Peashooter that has a slower fire rate, but can deal with screen doors and snorkels and stuff that have shields in front of them. So it's a bit better than the normal Peashooter. Cactus is F. It's Peashooter that costs 25 more. And all it does is deal with balloon zombies. It's not even the best at its job. Just use Cattail or Blover. Those are way better. Alright, next is the Cattail. Solid A tier plant. It eliminates the early game. It's really good in some mini games, and it gets rid of balloon zombies, digger zombies, and all stuff like that. Only downside is that it sucks against hordes of zombies. And it can only be planted in water. And that, okay, all upgrade plants are slow recharge. Moving on. Very, not S, but very close to it. Very good plant. Cherry Bomb is really good. It blows up a area which can eliminate a bunch of zombies. I'm talking about a bunch. Especially in Survival Endless. It's really helpful there. And, the only downsides are that 150, it's meh expensive, and it charges pretty slow. Moving on, Chomper is F. Chomper is F because its main purpose is to eat one zombie, then take 40 seconds to chew that zombie, then eat another zombie. That's basically all it does. Sure, it instant kills a zombie, but it doesn't even instant kill a Gargantuar or anything like that, so it's not even that good. Plus, it takes forever for it to attack another zombie, and it's vulnerable during that time. And it costs 150, which is a bit too much if you ask me. Cobb Cannon is S tier. I know it's an overrated plant, but I don't care. It is amazing. Okay, let me start off with the cons. It's very expensive. It takes up the most space of any plant. It can't have pumpkins over it, so it can't be protected. And yeah, that's all the cons. The pros are its attack is basically a cherry bomb. It's very, very, very powerful and very, very useful in Survival Endless. It takes care of those dumb Gargantuars. Anyways, it's just a really great plant, okay? We can all admit that. Okay, good. B tier. It can, okay, Coffee Bean can either wake up great plants like Fume Shroom, Gloom Shroom, or Doom Shroom. It could also wake up shitty plants like Scaredy Shroom. Moving on. Doom Shroom is basically better Cherry Bomb. It's cheaper. Well, in the nighttime it's cheaper. It's more worth it in my opinion because it can potentially get rid of every single row of zombies. The only downside is it leaves a stupid crater in the daytime and it charges slow. Alright, next we're going to do Flower Pot. Flower Pot is a solid... It's a B tier because you need it in the roof levels. That's basically all I have to say. Fume Shroom, solid high B tier. Sure, This plant is underrated as hell. Sure, it's very weak and all, but it helps deal with like waves of weak zombies. It can help. It can support against weak zombies. The downside is that it needs support against higher health zombies. So there's the problem. Just damage output. Garlic, in my opinion, is not that great. I'm putting it in C tier. It's useful for some strategies, but I don't find myself using this plant that much. Unless it's like the money grind strategy where you plant 3 gloom shrooms, plant a garlic in front of them, and just spam marigolds. You know, the money farming strategy. Yeah. Moving on. That's basically all it's useful for, in my opinion. Gatling Pea isn't as good as these, but it's still really, really solid. Gatling Pea, on its own, it's not that good, but with Torchwood, God, this thing is a monster. It does incredible amount of damage, the most damage in the game if you don't count instant kills. And even Gargantuars can go down very easily if you have multiple of these behind a Torchwood. It's very powerful, but downside is that it's very expensive. And it relies on Torchwood, basically. S tier plant. It's better than Cobb Cannon, in my opinion. Actually, no, it's not. But it's still really good. It has area of group damage, which attacks like 3 lanes or something like that. And it does very, very strong damage, and it helps with a lot of zombies. There's a couple downsides. One, you have to waste 3 slots to use this thing in the day. Like, you have to use Fume Shroom, Gloom Shroom, and Coffee Bean. And the second is that it has very, very close range. So it basically relies on pumpkins to survive. Moving on. This thing sucks. It just sucks. Okay, it's better than Cactus. I never use this thing. All it does is suck up coins. I don't like it. It's not that good. Gravebuster does its job. It digs up graves and gives you a coin. And gives you an extra place to plant. That's all I have to say about this plant. Hypnoshroom is probably the worst single use in this game because it's not as good as the explosives. It's not as good as squash or potato mine and stuff like that because it can't deal with the zombonis, gargantuars, and even if a zombie does eat it, it probably only take down 3 to 4 zombies if it's a football player. Unless there's just a bunch of weak-ass zombies on that lane. Sorry for the language. Next is Ice Shroom. Ice Shroom is there. I think Ice Shroom is a very good plant because it could freeze every single zombie on the screen. And there's an Ice Shroom trick where before, you know those zombies that spawn in the pool at the last wave? Well, if you use an Ice Shroom before those appear, it actually stops them from appearing. So it's very useful in Survival Endless if you're planting Cobb Cannons in the middle of your pool. Only downside is that it charges slow and you need Coffee Bean to wake it up in the day. Next is Imitator. Imitator, solid A tier plant. Probably low A tier though because, okay, Imitator basically gives you 2 of the same plants in your selection. But to be honest, it can either get good stuff like pumpkin, or you could duplicate shitty stuff like Peashooter. I don't know, the choice depends on you. Jalapeno. Jalapeno is probably it's better than Cherry Bomb. Okay, so it kills an entire row of zombies, which is amazing. It's the best way to counter those dumb zombonis. I hate those guys, by the way. And it's cheaper than a Cherry Bomb. It's best for dealing with a Gargantuar when it's about to throw its imp. So, yeah, Jalapeno's a very solid plant. Kernel Pulp, solid C tier plant. It has the butter effect, which is amazing because it stuns zombies for very, very, very long. And it upgrades to Cobb Cannon, which is one of the best plants in the game. There is some downsides. One downside. Its damage output is shit. Its damage output is so shitty. If you get kernels, then it's just so shitty. But if it gets butter, it's a really good plant. So I'm just going to put it in C. Lily pad is the same as flower pot, but for the pool. Next. I honestly think Hypnoshroom is not that great. Sure, it's helpful for football players, screen doors, ladders, and bucket heads and stuff like that, but I usually end up defeating those type of zombies with either raw power or just instant kills. I don't really see the point into the Hypnoshroom. It's not that great. This plant also sucks, except it's slightly more useful because it actually gives you money. So basically, it's only useful in that one strategy where you grind money. Next. Melon Bolt is a very solid 8-tier plant. Heavy damage, splash damage. What can I say? The only downside is that it's expensive as fuck, but besides that, it's a very, very good plant. Peashooter is a worse cabbage pult. Peashooter, although it has a faster fire rate, and it has a faster fire rate, it doesn't do as much damage as cabbage pult, and it can't really deal with the screen doors and snorkels and stuff like that. So it's basically a slightly worse version of cabbage pult. Lantern sucks. Heck, it's more useless than these things. Okay, so those 2 levels where you're forced to use plant, you don't have blower. I don't even use the planter, and it's fine. Just spam puff shrooms. That's how useless this plant is. It's just bad. And it charges slow also, so it sucks. Potato Mine, a very good plant. Very good plant. Okay, it goes here because it's very... Actually, I'm going to move Melon Pult to right here. Okay, it goes here because it stalls out early game, and it's very cheap. You can spam these to grind up your sunflowers and sun and stuff like that. The only downside is that these things take time to arm, so you kind of have to plant them far away from the zombies. So don't plant them too close or they're going to get eaten. This is the best plant in the game. I don't care. Puffshroom is amazing. Okay, let me explain the cons. Okay, it has short range and it has weak damage. That's bad, but there's multiple pros. 1, it costs 0 sun. 2, it's very spammable, so you can stall out a zombie forever. Like a Gargantua, if you're like combined with Winter Melon, it'll probably stay there forever. And combined with Imitator Puffshroom, then he's definitely there forever. Puffshroom is just so good, and it's very useful in the nighttime levels, and it's not useless in day because, like I said before, you can stall. And the other pro is that it's very good in Zabotany because the Peashooter zombies can't hurt it. So, yeah. Puffshroom is an amazing plant. Pumpkin is probably the 2nd to 3rd best plant in the game. Pumpkin is so amazing. It's a walnut that protects any plant in the game that's not Cobb Cannon. Think about it. It's so broken. Like, you can pumpkin a gloom shroom and it'll be fine. You can make a gloom wall because your gloom shrooms are protected from the pumpkin. And you can protect your back row from those darn digger zombies. So, yeah. Pumpkin is amazing. It's a walnut, but for a plant. Repeater. Repeater is solid B. Alright. Decent damage for its price. Decent fire rate. And decent kit. It's just a decent plant all around. There's nothing really special about it. It's just a decent plant. Oh, that could be powered up by Torchwood, so that makes it even better. Decent plant. Shitty plant. It's shitty. It's basically Peashooter, but for the nighttime. Sure, it's very cheap, which is very good. But it's a fucking coward because once a zombie gets close to it, it'll stop attacking. So, unlike Peashooter and Cabbage Pult, for example. So that's why I think Scaredy Shroom is very bad. Snoopy. Solid C tier. Slows down zombies. That's basically it. Slowing down zombies is great. Downside, damage output sucks because it has the same damage as a Peashooter, and its decently expensive. Like, good God, $175 for one of these? No. That's not really worth it. I would reduce it to like $150 or something. Alright, Sea Shroom is a better plant than those. Alright, Sea Shroom. It's basically Puff Shroom, but it's only for the water, and it charges very slowly, so it's never going to be as good as the Puff Shroom. But it is still useful for the fog levels, because you still need time to defend your, to produce sun to afford, like, stronger stuff like Fume Shrooms. So, Sea Shroom's still pretty good. Spike Rock. Solid A tier plant. It's probably there for me. Spike Rock, it's, I mean, no, I'm gonna be honest. It's right here. It's low A tier because, sure, it stalls out those damn Giga Gargantuars and Zambonis get destroyed by it. But it gets way too easily destroyed in Survival Endless. They're, like, way too easily destroyed. So, it's not going to be living that long. So, I don't think it's that great, but it's still a great plant. I mean, it's a great plant, but not as great as the others. Spikeweed is very useful for the Zambonis, and that's basically it. Yeah. That's all Spikeweed is good for, because it's weak as shit. Never use this thing unless it's upgraded to Spike Rock. This thing is weak as shit. Only use it for Zambonis. This thing is really bad also. Okay, so basically it's Peashooter that costs 25 extra sun, and its main purpose is to get rid of those darn digger zombies, but there's better options like Cattail, Starfruit, and Gloom Shroom. Heck, even Spike Rock at the back row is better. So, in my opinion, Split Beat kind of sucks. And it's basically Peashooter, but costs 25 more at the front, so yeah. Squash is amazing. Squash is amazing. Okay, so the reason why I put Squash up, actually Doom Shroom, you know what? Sorry, fuck it, Doom Shroom's up here. He's really good. Anyways, the reason I put Squash up here on like the other instant kills, besides Doom Shroom, it's because he's very cheap. He's very cheap. He can kill multiple zombies, and he charges faster than the other instant kills. So, yeah, he's really, really good. I love the Squash. No offense to anyone, but I think Sunshroom's kind of shitty. In the I would personally rather use the Sunflower over in the nighttime, because the Sunflower still gives decent production, so I'll just spam Puff Shrooms until I get enough Sunflowers to produce, to, like, afford, like, better stuff, like repeaters or something. So, yeah, I don't think Sunshroom's that good. Sunflower is an easy S tier because you need it. You basically need it to survive. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Tona's A tier because it has very high defense. It basically blocks Pogo zombies, Dolphin Rider zombies, and Pole Vaulters, so it counters those things. The downside is, those Zambonis and Gargantuars, well, they destroy it way too easily in Survival Endless, and you can't really take advantage of that high health if it's going to get crushed, right? So it's going in the A tier, but not the highest. Kelp is a solid C tier plant. Okay, takes down one zombie. Very useful against Dolphin Riders, but that's about it. Costs 25, which is cheap, but charges slow, which is bad. It's only for the pool. But other than that, that's an alright plant. The Repeater is very overrated, in my opinion. It's a very overrated plant. Because, one, planting 3 Peashooters instead of 1 3-peater is cheaper. And 2, why would you ever use this thing over repeaters and Gatling peas? The damage output sucks. This thing is not that good. I'm sorry. My opinion, though. I'm gonna put Torchwood right next to Gatling Pea. Torchwood is amazing. It powers up Gatling Pea and any other peas. Why would you ever use those, though? Power, and it's so good. It powers up Gatling Peas, power to basically Super Saiyan power, and can take down Gargantuars very, very, very easily. The only downside is that the strategy doesn't really have much splash damage, and Torchwood is kind of expensive, so yeah, those are the faults, but Torchwood is still a very solid plant. It's better than normal sunflower. It gives double sun. That's about it. That's basically it. But double sun is really good. Yeah. An umbrella leaf. I'll put you in the B tier, buddy. Umbrella leaf counters those stupid bungees and catapult zombies. And so it's very useful, but never use it if there's none of them because it can't attack for itself. But umbrella leaf's still good. Walnut. Very solid plant. Very useful in Zombotany, but other than that, and it's 50 sun, which is amazing, but other than that, it gets outclassed by the pumpkin, obviously, and the tallnut, obviously. Alright, we're now on the two last plants. Winter melon is frickin' amazing. It has melon pulp damage. It has melon pulp damage, splash damage, and not only that, it also freezes zombies. Slows down zombies, I'm sorry. You know how broken that is? Splash damage that also slows down zombies? Yeah, Wintermelon is broken. Yeah, that's all I have to say. It's kind of expensive, but who cares? This thing is so worth it. Alright. Starfruit. I'm sorry. Solid B tier plant. Because, one, I don't really use this thing, but if you spam this thing, it's godly broken. But if you have one of them, it sucks shit. But it's godly broken if you spam it. And two, it's quite cheap. It's quite cheap. But the downside of this thing is that it doesn't directly attack its row it's on, unlike a Peashooter, so sometimes it can be unreliable. But Starfruit is still good. Anyways, that will be it for my PVZ Want Plants tier list. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my list. Okay, that's all gonna be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.